I may not have gone where I intended to go, but I think I have ended up where I needed to be. By Douglas Adams. Hello everyone. Happy day to you all. I am Manju Sharma, Head of English Department, Anil Nair classes. In today's discussion, we will understand the fine nuances of a very important topic, that is, the subject-verb agreement. We all know that for a sentence to qualify as a sentence, it is mandatory that it contains a subject as well as a verb. It is equally important to understand that the verb in a sentence should agree with the subject in that sentence. That is, if the subject in a sentence is single, then the verb too should be single. For example, the elephant walks majestically. Always remember to first figure out the subject in a sentence. If you can do that, then most of the problems are solved. In this sentence, the elephant is the subject, which is single, and the verb that follows is walks, which is also single. On the other hand, if the subject in a sentence is plural, then the verb too should be plural. For example, elephants walk majestically. Since the subject elephants is plural, the verb used is also plural. Therefore, a verb must agree with its subject in number and person. Now consider another example where we have two subjects instead of one. One single subject and another plural subject. Then according to you, which verb should follow? A single verb or a plural verb? Usually by an error of proximity, the verb is made to agree with that subject which is closer to the verb instead of the proper subject. This should be avoided. Some basic rules that should be followed in subject-verb agreement are: first, the agreement applies to the third person in the present tense. For example, if I have to use the first person single as a subject in a sentence, it goes like, I study in college. If the subject is a first person plural, we study in college. If it is a second person single, we say, you study in college. And if it is a second person plural, it goes like, you study in college. If the subject is a third person single, he, she or it, then the sentence goes, he studies in college. And if the subject is a third person plural, the sentence goes like, they study in college. So if you have observed, the subject and the verb, they have agreed only in the third person single in the present tense. Second, if a sentence has two or more nouns or pronouns as subjects connected by the conjunction and, we use a plural verb. For example, gold and silver are precious metals. He and I are playing. Third, if a sentence has nouns such as scissors, shears, spectacles, glasses, shoes, socks, slippers, shorts, boxers, pants, etc., then it will take a plural verb. Though the noun refers to a single unit, it is made up of two parts and so it will take a plural verb. For example, the scissors are kept in the drawer. These trousers are made of cotton. Fourth, what happens in case the subject in a sentence is an indefinite pronoun? Words like each and every, each one, either, neither, everyone, etc. Indefinite pronouns are singular in nature and they also require a singular verb. For example, someone has taken my book, where someone is the indefinite pronoun followed by a singular verb has. Each of these books is good, where each is the subject and not the books, and it is followed by a singular verb is. Everybody or everyone knows him. Here I must point out that many think that everyone or everybody is plural since it talks of all. No, in fact, it talks about everyone, that is every single individual. Therefore, it should take a single verb, knows after it and not know. In sentences beginning with there is or there are, the subject follows the verb. Please don't mistake there to be the subject. So, if the sentence goes like, there dash a question, then what is the subject over there? It is a question, which is single. So the verb that will come in the blank over there is there is a question. Or there dash many questions. So when we have questions and it is plural, the verb that comes there will be are. There are many questions. Sixth, if the subject in a sentence is a collective noun, then it will take a singular verb, since collective noun is a name given to a collection of something and is taken as one unit. For example, a bunch of 20 roses is lying on the table. Here the subject is bunch and not roses. Therefore, since it is a bunch, that is one bunch, so it will take a single verb. If it were two bunches, then the sentence would go like, two bunches of roses are lying on the table. Because now the subject is plural, bunches, and so a plural verb will follow. But here we have an exception in the collective nouns. Take the example of jury. The word jury can mean a group or an individual depending on its usage in the sentence. As long as all the members of the jury are of the same opinion, they will be taken as a single unit. For example, the jury has decided unanimously. The jury has passed the verdict. But if there is a difference of opinion, then they are taken as plural. For example, the jury are divided in their opinion. The jury are having an argument. Seventh, all units of measurements take a single verb. For example, $10 is a high price to pay. 10 million rupees is a big amount. 20 kilometers is a long distance. Eighth, if a subject in a sentence is the name of a sport, for example, billiards, athletics, tennis, etc., or name of a disease like mumps, measles, bronchitis, etc., or a subject like physics, civics, economics, mathematics, it will also take a single verb after it in spite of ending with an S. Please do not mistake it to be a plural subject. Ninth, articles too play an important role in subject-verb agreement. For example, the professor and lawyer dash come. So, are we talking of two people over here or a single person? Remember that if we have one article before any two elements, then it refers to a single entity. So here it means that there is a person who is a professor as well as a lawyer. So the sentence will be, the professor and lawyer has come. But in case we have two articles, for example, the professor and the lawyer, then it refers to two different people. So the verb that follows will be plural. The professor and the lawyer have come. So if there is only one article used, then it refers to a single person who is a professor as well as a lawyer. If there are two articles, then it refers to two people, a professor and a lawyer. Next, I have a black and white car. It means that I have one car which has both colors on it, black as well as white. But if I say, I have a black and a white car, now here I have two cars, one is black and the other is white in color. Then 10th, in case a sentence has the words all or some, then what comes after these two words decides whether the single or a plural verb will follow. For example, all the students are absent. Here the word students, which is plural and is a countable noun, follows all. So the verb also will be plural. But if I say, all the milk is burnt, now here all is followed by milk, which is uncountable and therefore taken as single. So the verb also will be single. The same is the case with some. Some of the students are absent. Why? Because students is a countable noun and it is a plural. So the verb that follows will be plural, that is are. But if some is followed by an uncountable noun, that is some of the milk is burnt. Why? Because milk is an uncountable noun and it is always taken as single. So the verb that follows will also be single. So be careful and see what follows the words all and some in case they are being used as the subject in a sentence. Accordingly write the verb. 11th, whenever there are persons, fractions or numerical expressions like 3/4 of, 1/4 of, etc., follow the same rule as that of all or some. Depending on what follows the expression, the sentence becomes singular or plural. For example, 1/4 of the class is absent, where class is a collective noun and therefore single followed by a single verb. Another example, 1/4 of the boys are absent, where boys is a countable noun and is plural, therefore plural verb follows. 50% of students are present and 50% of population is illiterate. So it depends what follows the persons or the fractions, accordingly the verb comes. 12th, if the subject is a plural noun but refers to a proper name for some single object or some collective unit, then it must be followed by a singular verb. For example, the Arabian Nights is still a great favorite. Here the Arabian Nights is a plural name of a single collection of stories, hence it is followed by a single verb. The United States has a big navy. Gulliver's Travels was written by Swift. 13th, sometimes we talk about two different things as one, like slow and steady wins the race. Fish and chips is a popular dish. So when these two different things are put together and spoken as one, so they are taken as one, and therefore since it is one and it is single, the verb that follows is also single. Next, now let us shift our attention to sentences which have two subjects, one single and one plural. There are two rules to be always kept in mind in such cases. First is the nearer subject rule. This states that if the two subjects in a sentence are separated by neither nor, or either or only or, then the verb will agree with the subject which is closer to it. For example, neither the students nor the teacher is in class. Because we have the two subjects, students and teacher, separated by neither nor, and the subject which is closer to the verb is teacher, which is single, therefore the verb that comes in the blank will be single, that is. It will agree with the teacher and not with students. Either the teacher or the students are coming. The students or the teacher is coming. Either the man or his brothers are coming. The manager or the subordinates are responsible. Second is the farther subject rule. This rule states that if the two subjects in a sentence are separated by phrases like together with, along with, including, accompanied by, in addition to, as well as, and not, then in these cases, the verb will agree with that subject that is written farther away from it, that is at the beginning of the sentence. For example, the chairman, including his team, is traveling to Britain and not are traveling to Britain. Here, including his team is just extra information. Even if it is removed, the sentence makes complete sense, that is, the chairman is traveling to Britain. Other examples, the man, accompanied by his dogs, is walking in the garden, where the man is the primary subject and accompanied by his dogs is just additional information. The teacher, along with the students, is in the class. The students, as well as the teacher, are in the auditorium. The king and not the ministers is in the court. So, if you have observed, the subject which is written at the beginning of the sentence is the primary subject. Hence, the verb will agree with the primary subject. Do not be misled by a phrase that comes between the subject and the verb. The verb agrees only with the subject and never with the noun or pronoun in the phrase. So if you keep these points in your mind and apply them accordingly, I am sure your understanding of the subject-verb agreement will be much better and your performance will be much better. Happy learning to one and all. Good day.